Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 25th October 2016. The first article is related to the ongoing presidential elections in the United States of America. Now let us see what is the vision of United States. How the country of US has been formed. You all know that United States is considered as the country of immigrants, and US is the only country that is proud about its immigrant history. Now, if you talk about the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island over there, so that's a symbol of immigration, and it is history that signifies with immigration. So, America is not just about a country, it is about assimilation of different countries and their cultures into one single nation. So that's why immigration history of America is been said to be the greatest accommodation across the people. So in this context, there is an American dream created where onto a newfound land people go there and they work for their prosperity and become rich and live a wealthy life. So this is what is the American dream and the land of opportunities mean. So in this context, America has become a magnet to attract the successful and talented pool from all over the world. And these in turn has created or strengthened the human resources there, and they have created the wealth over there. So this is the reason or secret behind the America's status as a powerful nation. So, in this scenario, recent elections, the immigration is a major point of debate. Here, Mr. Trump representing the Republican Party and Miss Hillary Clinton representing the Democrats, both of them have different contesting ideas. Mr. Trump sees immigration as a threat to the future of United States of America, and on the other hand, Hillary Clinton sees as immigration itself is the strength of the America. Here, the President Obama has clearly said that there is no cause to worry about the immigrants. American country is all about the immigrants. So, now where the problem is, where these different visions are been coming up. So from very beginning, there is also a clash that is clearly visible in the United States. You see the Civil War, Civil Rights Movement. These are nothing but clash of ideas in America. The Civil Rights Movement, it is about African Americans demanding for the equal rights along with the whites. And whites have strongly resisted for the same. It is around 1960s the African Americans have got equal rights for education, equal rights to vote along with the whites. Even today, if you observe, the Black Lives Matter, African American Lives Matter, this movement is clearly about providing for sensitivities to the needs and sensitivities to the culture of the African Americans and their way of life. So the American system by and large is not totally sensitive towards the different sections of the society. But over a period of time, an effort was made where different sections can live happily and peacefully there, and they can live the big American dream. So, but today, the America appears more divisive than ever before. If you see these presidential debates of Miss Hillary Clinton and Mr. Trump, so you can clearly observe that the Trump's world vision, it is about division between Islam and Christianity. It is a division between immigrants and the American citizens. So he regularly uses the word aliens for the immigrants and refugees. So building a border across the Mexico and also returning all the Muslims back to their countries. All these are filled with something called venomous spread or venomous words. So in this case, America, especially the globalization, this has impacted this particular narrative of presidential election. Now, because of the globalization, there is a trade connectivity across the countries. And also, there is a free movement of the people that has happened. Both the capital started moving from the west to east, and the labor started moving from east to west. So that's why the opportunities to the Americans have come down to an extent. And the second thing is, the Americans, though appears to have accepted their diversity, pluralism, but still deep in their minds, this racial segregation still appears to exist. The white supremacist groups, they have increased in number once the President Obama has took the office. So in this scenario, so killing these differences and bringing back America to its original front. That is the major challenge before the president who is going to come into power. And making the America great again, we need to remember America is great because of its ability to assimilate, because of its ability to adopt and change. It is not because just of its military might. So in this context, a very democratic credentials of United States of America, its pluralistic traditions, if they die, obviously that's where US will see a downslope. Now the next article is related to the perils of plastic. Now in this case, the cybersecurity challenges are increasing, especially as the connectivity is increasing and more data is being centralized and shared across the networks. Then we are equally exposed to the dangers of getting lost this information or dangers of getting this information misused. So, in the case of the Aadhaar, the entire citizen data is being stored in certain secure platforms. But the question is how far secure they are. So, if data of the citizens gets leaked from the Aadhaar, don't you think it is a threat to the privacy of the citizen? So, the second question over here is today we are more and more depending upon the networks for decreasing the transaction costs of the public service delivery, for improving their efficiency, for cashless transactions to curtail the black money, and also to decrease or else the efforts related to the delivery of the goods to the poor people. That is, we talk about cash transfers. All these are based on these networks. So, in these circumstances, the future of the world, the wars of the future, they do not happen across the borders, but they happen over the internet. And if internet was disrupted, then it's going to kill the very economy of the country. Now, in this scenario, the RBI has given clear warnings to the banks about the challenges which they are facing on cybersecurity fronts. In spite of this, many banks did not respond. So it is the time we shall have a clear framework and architecture related to the cybersecurity in the country. Now coming to bird flu, what we must do. Now last year, surprisingly, one of the question has come up. That is, swine flu is caused by which of the virus? I have few of the students who are doctors and they kept it as H5N1. So understand, flu is a virus where it gets changed every year and different strains comes up. This is what we call it as antigenic drift and antigenic shift. Antigenic drift means a slow change in the genotype of that particular virus and a new strain of the flu has come up. So the bird flu is H5N1, swine flu is H1N1. Last year the question is on swine flu. So in this case, the new strains when they come up, so we need to take a flu shot, flu vaccine. So the flu vaccine protects us against the 3 or 4 prevalent strains in that particular season. And you have to take this particular vaccine every year as the new strains develop every year due to antigenic shift and antigenic drift. So, and these are nothing but, so the antigens on which your vaccine fights, these gets changed in the organism every year. So the genotype undergoes certain mutations and the outside expression of the antigen changes. So that's why what the vaccine you give to the individual also has to change every year. So in this case, the epidemics of the flu has increased in India and India's preparedness to fight these epidemics is very less. So quarantine facilities to be improved, border management and even providing for better healthcare facilities, improving the diagnosis and treatment for these cases is the need of the hour for India. Now let's go to the next article. That is the perspective page. Now in this case we are going to study about India-Myanmar relations. Now, in the case of the India and Myanmar relations, the first change which we see is the democratization of the Myanmar. So from the military Thin Sen rule to the democratic rule under the leadership of NLD, so there is a significant change which provides for the new opportunities for engagement for India with Myanmar. Myanmar is very much important for two reasons. One is it acts as a bridge between South Asia and Southeast Asia. And the second, Northeast and violence in the Northeast is also connected closely with the Myanmar terror groups. And the third thing, The Myanmar lies at the confluence of South Asia, Southeast Asia, and East Asia. So it means it is strategically also very much important for India. So, Hu Tin Yu, the president of the Myanmar, and Ms. Suki, the foreign minister, both of them have visited us frequent or else visited to India in subsequent visits. So, India is the only country where the president and foreign minister, both of them made their visits too. And the Ma Su is highly respected leader. Though she has won the election, she was unable to take the position of the president because of constitutional restrictions. If she married to and if she has the kids who are of the foreign origin, then he or she shall not become the president of Myanmar. Miss Aung San Suu Kyi has children who are of UK citizenship, so that she cannot become the Myanmar's president. Now, there is a power sharing between military establishment and the democratic institutions. The military establishment maintains the control over the parliament and also the important functions of defense, border management, and home affairs. This is the constitutional arrangement there. In spite of that, this constitutional arrangement appears to be working fine, and both the groups are not interfering into the work of the others. So here, the India, how it has to get benefited, how it has to realign. Now, the Myanmar, when Thein Sein has visited India, so India, he showed a deep interest in bringing in a strategic relationship with India, because already Myanmar is in a strategic relationship with China, and he also wanted to sign that with India. The reason being, his policy is about non-aligning with India and China and balancing between India and China. Aung San Suu Kyi, Masu, also appears to continue the same policy of the Myanmar. And the second thing is, with regard to India is concerned, there is pure mismanagement of the affairs in Myanmar, especially for the promises which it has made. India is providing a lot of aid and effort in agriculture and technology, but however, there is no proper communication is being given to the people and the government establishment over there on what the actions the India is taking towards the prosperity of Myanmar. Coming to the infrastructure projects, India is mostly seen in comparison to China and in bad light because of the delay in the projects. If you take the Kaladan multimodal project, or if you take India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway, all of them are got delayed beyond the scheduled dates. So in this context, India has to establish a separate mechanism to take this particular thing forward, and it has to create a clear monitoring on the completion of the projects which it has stated on the foreign soil. So these are the articles. Next, coming to GST rates. Now, government of India, it has proposed for 4 GST rates. Don't you think it is bringing the world's tax system in a new cup, or world tax system in a new form? So understand what in the United States the GST, how the GST has been implemented is like this. So there is one single rate throughout the country. Either you buy a laptop or you buy something else, you get the same 5% of taxation over there. So one country, one tax, one rate. That's what is the GST in the advanced countries mean. As we are bringing 4 different rates, and the center is also proposing for cess, don't it create unnecessary complexity? So here, Mr. Pangaria, the Niti Aayog chairman, he has given a clear challenge or understanding of the problem. Now, if you declare some 16% as the GST rate, and on all the products, if we impose the same, it leads to an inflation spiral in the country. On certain essential goods for the poor, we need to bring in a lower GST rates. On the non-merit goods, we have to keep in higher GST rates. So, keep the check on inflation. So, the second thing is, Indian tax system, it has gone through various stages of reforms. It is not one single stage of reform. So in every stage of reform, there is some moderation is done. Certain readjustments are being done. So you cannot go to one country, one tax and one rate at a single go. And Indian GST is about creating one rate for every, not for every product, but one rate for a product across India. It means I buy the pen in Hyderabad or I buy the pen in Delhi. So there is the same price for everything, same rate of taxation for the same pen. So that is what the GST mean for India. That's what Mr. Arvind Panagaria talks about. And then let's talk about the Tata Sons. Now, I don't see what is happening within the Tata group, but what I want to see is what is the impact of European crisis on Indian business and corporate sector. Now, if you observe, so India or many of the corporate houses India have expanded their business. If you take Airtel, it went into Africa, Europe, etc. Similarly, Tatas have also invested in UK, especially the Cyrus Steel, etc. So, once the recession has come up, and in the post recession period, the commodity prices have drastically fallen. And China's steel is cheap and spreading across the world. Because of this, many of the European steel companies they are on the verge of the closure. And the Tata Steel is not an exception to it. It also has brought in its idea of closure. And the second thing is the Brexit. It has further complicated the things for the business which are being run in the United Kingdom. Because once the Brexit happens, Britain exits, the common market is being lost and the tariffs will come between the goods produced in UK and for the export of the same goods into the European Union. So in this case, any manufacturing unit in UK is going to face the serious troubles in the future. So from this perspective, European Union crisis, either it is Brexit or the economic crisis, they have a deep impact on the Indian corporate sector. And this is a reflection of this at the larger scope if we observe. So these are the articles for today. And in this, I tried to post certain questions in the brackets just to give you the essence on the centrality of the article, what it is looking for. So I'm trying to innovate the things. I don't know. I am very poor with technology. Hopefully, I will learn something. Thank you very much. All the best.